Hello.
Hey, good evening. Happy Monday, everybody.
Welcome to Altar of the Brew.
I'm Rich. This is Steve. We're going to be building a pretty cool one for you tonight. It's going to be a Abzan Lifegain deck. Pretty excited about this one. It's Ikra Shidiqi and Tymna, which are some pretty powerful commanders. We've decided that budget, not a factor on this one. We're going to play the best ones that we want to play. So, pretty excited.
We want to power this one up.
Yeah, it won't be like CDH level, but it'll be juiced pretty hard.
No, it's a life gain deck. We're
Yeah,
not. We're. This is going to be
powerful
all
casual.
in on life gain synergies. I don't think this is a unconditional tutors deck.
Correct.
I don't think we're at that level, so we're not going to play your demonic tutors, your diabolic intents, things like that. But we are definitely going to go with, cards that are not budget alternatives.
Yeah. And with that, we just established a quick land base of 35 lands as of right now. You can see there are all the fetch lands, all the shocks that fit in this, the Triome, all of the new Innistrad lands, all the filter lands as of right now, the commander lands. And this first one to get us started here, the Tainteds are in here as well, because they're basically free, and all the buddy lands. First one we're going to start with, though, is Vault of the Archangel. It's just another basically freebie land. Taps for colorless, or you can pay 2, a white and a black tap, and creatures you control gain death touch and lifelink on a turn. So just kind of start with the lands. We got the ramp going with all the signets, Soul Ring, and all the talismans, and then a couple of sorceries here, Nature's Lore 3 visits. And we put the pretty good regular old obvious removal spells in here with one caveat.
Yep.
Card I've been dying to play, and I like it. Mythos of Nethroi, 3 mana, 2 and a black. This card is worded in such an awkward way to me. It says destroy target non-land permanent if it's a creature, or if green-white was spent to cast a spell. So what the wording should say is, or what basically what the card is, if you pay black, white, and green for it, you can destroy any non-land permanent. Simple as that.
Otherwise,
it has to be a creature. So it's a removal spell that has a lot of versatility.
I did not realize how terribly they worded that.
It's such a poorly worded card.
It's awful.
Yeah, and the artwork's really really unique and stuff for it too. So, we can. If you guys, at this point, people probably know what Tymna does.
Yes.
And,
so Tymna, 3 mana 2/2 with lifelink. For each person you hit after combat, you pay 1 life. You can draw cards. So if you hit 3 opponents, you can pay 3 life in your second main phase to draw 3 cards. Incredibly powerful. And then Ikra Shidiqi is 3/7 with menace for 5. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So we were thinking that we wanted to go like big life gain in this deck.
Humongous.
So we not only want to do our incremental levels of life gain, we want big swaths, big chunks of life gain, because we want to get in there with creatures and get Ikra Shidiqi's trigger and keep building a bigger and bigger threat. So we're going to try and basically win with overwhelming combat damage, alpha strikes, big teams type of energy in this deck. So that's what we're going for.
We're going to attack for lethal, basically, is what Steve's saying. And we're going to use our monstrously large creatures that gain value from gaining life. We're real excited to get this going here. We're currently at 52. We'll probably end up having to make a lot of cuts out of this one based on the stuff you and I have talked about. So let's get started.
Okay, so I think the first and foremost was this is now titled the Hey Sister, Go Sister, Soul Sister, Go Sister. So all the Soul Sisters.
So let's go ahead and start with all the Soul Sisters. So we got Soul's Attendant, which will come up here shortly. There it is. So 1 mana, 1/1. When a creature enters the battlefield, any creature enters the battlefield, you may gain a life. Then you have Soul Warden. This is the one that you have to gain a life. I don't know why that would ever be a downside, but it might be in one game or two. Also, I changed the layout a little bit so it's more. You can see the cards a little bit easier. And then there's Essence Warden. It's the green Soul Sister. Essence. Doesn't that look right? It is, but Essence Warden. 1 green whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control. Gain a life. Under anybody's control. Yes. I apologize. Any creature enters the battlefield.
Yeah, we want the anyone's first.
Yeah. And then
or you would do an Auriok Champion.
I have it. Yeah, Auriok Champion.
Is the double white one.
And then we have let's see.
Then I think you go to the ones that are Everyone after that goes to only your side, correct?
Yeah. Technically no. All the cheap costed ones from here only go to your side. There's some. There's
two
some
mana.
bigger,
The 2 mana ones. There's other 1 mana ones that do yourself, but we're looking for more of the everyone. Daxos is my mono white Lifegain deck.
And it's awesome.
It's full of, but my deck is more of a, I'm gonna win through attrition because I'm not gonna die at the same time as I'm gonna gain life. So it plays all of the things that stop you from dying. This is probably gonna be more of an aggro life gain version of the deck. But Daxos works because it's double up. It gets you the life when stuff enters and dies. So it's better than some of the other 2 mana ones that are only one-sided.
Yeah, I see it. This is one that I had recently discovered, and I've been interested in trying out. Distinguished Conjurer. You know this one? It's a self sister. So
yes,
it's a
with the blink effect on it.
Yeah, it's got a blink effect, which is
I have it
really
in my
neat.
deck. I haven't gotten it on the battlefield yet, though.
You know, and we're gonna have a few creatures with some ETBs, but even if not, you can just ETB a creature to trigger all your Soul Sisters, which is just sweet, in my opinion. And then let's see here, I have Elias Core. Oh, one of the just another thing here. Daxos also has a trigger that when another creature you control dies, you gain a life.
Yeah.
Which is good against like Wrath and stuff like that, or when they kill your commanders, because they're gonna want to try to remove those. But Elias Core does fit in Abzan. Elis Ilcore. Never mind. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Elis Ilcore. Are you there? 13 cents. Wow, this card got cheap, huh? I think when it came out, it was like 14 cents. Somehow these Dominaria cards were really, really inexpensive.
Right.
But it's a 2/2 Death Toucher. It does cost a black and a white, which is a little bit more prohibitive. Although we have a lot of double whites in here, which are pretty challenging.
And we got a really good mana base, though.
We have a pretty specific mana base. But when another creature enters the battlefield you control, you gain a life. When another creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life. So it's a little bit like a Blood Artist. Well, it's exactly like a Blood Artist effect, but it's for Usurper Cutthroat, we'll say.
Yeah.
Which is a card I definitely think we should play in here. I don't know if you want to play it because it's just kind of a weaker one, but Impassioned Orator.
Yeah, I'm not as big on this one in comparison to some of the others. I still have this one in Daxos. I cut the Luminarch one.
I don't know
Luminarch order. It's like the same thing. Luminarch something.
Yeah, I don't have it here. But if we,
A Prosperous Innkeeper is
Yeah.
the one another one.
Yeah, I mean effectively it's a 1 mana green Soul Sister. Soul Brother. This halfling here, but when it enters the battlefield, you make a treasure. Another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Seemed fine to me, because at least like refunds you down to 1 mana. And then the one that our opponents always seem to hate to play against the most. Good old Suture Priest. This one's kind of like a really great one as an anti-combo creature too, in a way. It says whenever the creature enters the battlefield, you control, gain a life. And then when a creature enters the battlefield in an opponent's control, you may have them lose a life. So if they try to make infinite creatures with this thing out, they just die. So it's just another great sister there. Nope, those are payoffs. What do you think about like Zulaport Cutthroats and stuff, like those type of? Nope, that's not it.
I think if you're gonna put the next one in there, I think the next best one would be Blood Artist.
Yes, I think both are totally reasonable to play in this deck. In that like your creatures are gonna die because they're dinky. They won't be dinky long, but you need to get to their. What is it? I don't recognize this art. Oh, it's a Jumpstart artwork. Neat. I don't think Healer of the Pride's all that necessary. So those are, I think, going to be your main sisters, right?
Yep. I think that's a good package.
What do you think about, like, we have, what do you think about the Big Sister? Did you like that one or not?
Yeah. I mean, she's a mainstay.
So this is Tristani Selesnia's voice. I love this card. I used to have a commander deck years and years ago that was really powerful with it. It is a very prohibitive cost in green, white, but we've built a good mana base. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to its toughness. And it's really interesting is that Ikra Shidiqi also cares about a creature's toughness for damage when you gain life. So that's really cool. And it just has another ability you can pay 3 mana and tap it to populate. So if you do make a token for any reason, you can just populate it. I'm not sure what we'll get there, but right now the only token I see we can make is like a treasure. And you can only populate a creature token. So
we did have one that we were talking about that makes monstrous tokens potentially. So
what you got there? You want to put it in or no?
That's the black Strixhaven commander. What's his name?
Yes.
Tivash,
yeah.
Tivash.
Gloom Summoner. This is actually in my commander cube as one of the Lifegain strategy commanders you can take. This is a really powerful card. It's a 4/4 life linker for 5. Begin your end step. If you gained life this turn, you pay X life, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. If you do, you make an XX black demon with flying, which is epic.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be gaining a lot of life with this deck.
So when we talk about big chunks of life, this is kind of one of those payoff effects we're talking about, right? You know, you get 7 life off of Ikra Shidiqi, and then, like, let's just say you also happen to have lifelink on all your creatures, right? Like, big chunks, right? And then you can just, I'm going to make a 10/10 with 10/10 demon. Oh, and then guess what? I'm going to give it lifelink next turn.
What's really cool is this card actually does combo very well with Tristani, in that you're going to pay all that life you just gained to make a giant demon that Tristani's going to give you the life back for, and then you can pay to populate it and make even more life up.
Right.
Could be really cool a synergy between these two creatures. So
sure.
I really dig it. Let's see here. What else did I have? I had those are payoffs for gaining. Shattered Angel. I don't know what you think about this.
That's the gain the land one?
Yeah, so it's a 5 mana 3/3 flyer, which is a bit overcosted. However, it says whenever an opponent, like a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you may gain 3.
All right.
So like
I have another. If you want that effect on a creature, but you don't want to pay 5 for it,
I would love to not pay 5 for it.
I've got a new creature for you.
Ooh, what do you got?
I gotta find his name. It's an artifact creature that just got printed in Brothers War, and I have it in my deck. We find it that way. It's probably faster.
Did you like the silverback in this?
Yes.
All right, so while Steve is looking for that, I'm going to talk about Silverback Elder, one of the most busted cards that I can't believe is sub $7 right now. This is a 2 green. This is a little prohibitive, but this is whenever you cast it's a 5/7 first of all. So having a big butt with Ikra Shidiqi is great. We might have changed the deck of the name of the deck of this to Big Butts, or like Sir Mix-a-Lots, fan club or whatever. But it says whenever you cast a creature spell, you choose one. You can destroy an artifact or enchantment. You can look at the top 5 of your library and put a land tapped from among them on the battlefield, or you can gain 4 life every time you just cast a creature. It's also just a gigantic ape shaman, which is awesome. So you can attack with it, you can block with it. People don't really kill this thing too often for some reason when I play it in green sleeves and stuff, which is ridiculous because.
How about 1 mana?
But that's only 1 life. I mean.
Oh, 1 mana.
I think
this
new
guy.
awesome.
I haven't gotten it in play yet, but I think it's going to be effective. It's Spectrum Sentinel. Shout out to our buddy Steve Senecola for pointing this one out to me. That's a 1 mana 1/2.
Big butt.
Big butt. Whenever a non-basic land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life. So it's narrower.
It's much narrower, and the life gain is less, but it is still consistent if they're playing. Listen, if you're playing a $300-400 mana base, you're probably playing against other decks with similar things. So
yeah,
So
it's something to think about. If you're looking at the Angel and you're like, man, I like that effect, but I don't want it to cost that much. There's also an enchantment for 3 mana that does any land entering under anyone's control.
It's pretty spectacular.
So that
What's
one.
the name of that one?
That one is. Let's see. I have never seen this card. It's called Life Gift. 1 word.
Life Gift. Gift. Wow, $10, huh?
Kamigawa only.
Must be good.
Original Kamigawa, I believe.
So we head down here to the enchantments. The first one here. 2 and a green enchantment. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, you gain a life. By the way, this is a May trigger, and people who play against Soul Sisters will hold you to all of your May triggers because they are afraid of how much life you'll gain. So just be sure that whenever something says you may gain a life, that you don't forget to do it. So that's all the sisters and basically life gainy stuff that I had and wanted to talk about. We have payoffs we can do, like creatures that grow when you gain life, stuff like that.
Yep.
I have a couple of neat ones here.
Yeah. I like the
Zoo Report in here as well. I think there's the only two, probably like just the 2 mana ones.
Okay.
It's just like there's something really powerful about like, okay, go ahead and wrath my board and watch as you just get crushed by how much life you're going to lose while I gain even more. Life gain just keeps you in a game so much longer too, so you're able to really grind.
I like the upgraded Ajani's Pridemate that we got in Voice of the Blessed.
That's on my list here. I also like Ajani's Pridemate, to be honest with you. 2 mana.
But they've given us so much better ones now.
Yeah, but
like this one. This one's busted.
This one's too white though, you know?
No. Whenever you gain life, put a +1 counter on it. As long as it has 4 more counters on it, it has Flying and Vigilance. As long as it has 10, it has Indestructible.
It's pretty
This
bananas.
thing slaps.
I have one that's way less good. It's closer to an Ajani's Pridemate.
That one's fine too, though.
What, Trelisara?
This is a Joe Johnson staple from Tabletop Jocks. This is one of his his decks that he plays.
Trelisara is just a 2/2 for a green-white. I'm waiting for it to come up here.
Yeah,
9 cents. Whenever you gain life, you put a 1 counter on it, and you scry one.
Yeah.
And oh boy, with the amount of life we're planning to gain with this deck at incremental values and in combat, there's a good chance you're gonna be able to scry quite a lot with this card. At least the way it looks.
Yeah.
And it'll get pretty big too. So people will try to, like pretty much all of your pieces, none of them are all that good to remove singly. So we have to protect ourselves against wrath somehow. But no, not that one.
Yes. No alchemy.
Correct.
None of that. It's not real format.
It's not real.
It's only in your imagination.
Even if we're not going to play it, I'm going to put it in the considering board for folks that need a budget alternative.
Totally fine.
Although I do think that if you want to play this card, it's totally fine to play.
Yes, agreed.
This card's, not this artwork, but this card is really good.
That's the one I caught was Lunarch Veteran. That's a 1 mana, one-sided Soul Sister.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I didn't have.
I cut that one.
You don't like it? You think we should have it in this one?
I don't know. It's considering. I didn't have as many my side payoffs. I was looking for more everybody's payoffs.
Gotcha.
Because I was looking for just more individual triggers.
I like that it has a post-death ability.
It does. It does have a disturb ability, which is cool.
So the other side of this card is...
I think I cut it for the Distinguished Conjurer.
Gotcha. This one says whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, you gain a life, and it's a 1/1 flyer. I love a second life creature. You know me. I think this is totally reasonable to keep in here. Shattered Angel does feel very overcosted, even though the life you're gaining on it is considerable.
Listen, if I had lifelink or something.
I mean, our commander gives it kind of lifelink.
Sure.
But we also have cards that we're going to play here that are going to give some lifelink. So we can get into those though. But as far as
I think I would like the Righteous Valkyrie in here.
Righteous Valkyrie, the one that's when your life total is like 7 higher than your starting life total.
Yeah, everything gets an Anthem of 2.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
It's also easy to cast.
What's that, like 2 and a white?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. And what do you feel about the ones that say like when you gain a life, gain another life?
They are
or gain that much +1. Because it only increases the life amount you gain. It's not an additional trigger. I love this card.
That's like Rock's Faith Mender is one of them, and then the other's another one.
I think Rock's chain it doubles the life, right?
Oh, that's the double one?
I think it is. We'll check it out though. I mean, if we'll put it considering, I don't think this is a card that I enjoy playing. Every time I put it in a deck, it never seems to do what I need it to do. There it is. Over there. But it is a. I mean, it's got a big butt, so maybe this is the deck for it.
It is a 1/5.
It's a 1/5 4-mana lifelink. If you gain life, you gain twice that much life.
So let's hear me out. You attack with this, you get 10 life.
Yeah.
With Ikra Shidiqi.
Yes, 100%.
That sounds pretty good.
Let's leave rocks in here. We'll test it out this time. And it's very easy to cast.
That's a big chunk. It falls into a big chunk.
Yes, it falls into
I like that more than the 1 more life, like the hardened scales life gain equivalents, right?
Yes. So I don't know what you think about this, but to me, this seems like
a Karlov deck.
I love a Karlov in this deck because it's essentially a Johnny's Pridemate with an inordinate amount of upside to it.
Sure.
The fact that it's twice as many counters because you gain 2 counters on it every time you gain life. So every single time you get a life gain trigger, this thing gets 2 1/1 bigger, and then you can pay 2 and remove 6 1/1 counters from it to exile a creature. So it's also removal 2.
Yes,
and that is very, very strong.
It is.
If you're watching or you're checking this out on YouTube, Chris, you were crushing with this card at our cube this weekend.
Yeah.
And we had to kill him because he was annihilating the board. It was awesome.
Karlov can do that.
Yeah, Karlov is very powerful as far as like a grow bigger creature. Voice of the Bliss we did.
One of the other like little trigger ones that you had was Archivist of Ogma.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's it's not guaranteed, but it's definitely. Did I spell it wrong? Oh yeah, Archivist. There we go. Really, really great card. 1 and a white for a 2/2. I want to say.
Yep, 2/2 with flash.
Yeah, it's got flash whenever opponent searches their library, and that's anytime they search their library, like cast a rampant growth, cultivates even in your budget, more budgety,
fetches.
or they fetches, use tutors, you get to draw a card. So very, very nice to be able to draw cards and then also make this thing bigger, which is very, very cool. Again, I'm not sure if this is one we want to play. I just put it on my list here because I thought it was neat. Which is Blood Researcher. It's just another payoff for when you gain life. It's a dinky 2/2 menace for 3. But it gets bigger every time you gain life. Like I said, I don't think it's that good in this deck, but it does have an evasion, which is nice.
It does.
So, and that evasion, as this thing gets bigger and bigger, it'll be much harder to block. Right. So I did like that aspect to it. Again, a little less powerful than I think what we're looking for, and especially at the mana cost. If that was at 2, I think we just snap play. It'd be great,
sure,
you know, because any of Johnny's Pride Mate with upside is really good. But moving on to other cards like this, I have Bloodthirsty Aerialist. I think making giant flyers is just a way to win. Is a way to win games. Bloodthirsty Aerialist is a 1 black. I just can't spell this word tonight. Is a 1 black 2/3 flyer for 21 cents. God, cards like that. And it says when you gain life, put a 1 counter on it. Pretty basic. We got a lot of stuff like that. I think. Where did it go? Did I miss it? There it is. Bloodthirsty Aerialist. Very simple. Great card too. Definitely done a lot of crushing with this one. Let's see here. And I'm on payoffs now. I don't think... what do you think about Gideon's Company?
I don't think I know that one.
So this one is 3 and a white for a 3/3. And it says when you gain life, put 2 1/1 counters on it. And then you can pay 4 mana to put a loyalty counter on a Gideon Planeswalker. I don't think I'm going to play a Gideon Planeswalker in this. I don't think it's something we really considered.
There's only one Planeswalker for me when it comes to Lifegain.
The other Johnny?
Johnny Straight for the Pride.
Makes sense. But this one, again, if you're playing a more budgety version, totally reasonable to play this in your deck. If you got some Gideon Planeswalkers, this thing's awesome. So, but I don't really think we need it. I just wanted to have it on the considering list.
Absolutely.
So I think
it's a good card.
I mean, the first time you gain life, it's going to go to a 5/5, then a 7/7, then a 9. That's only a couple of triggers with this many Soul Sisters and stuff. So it gets big quick.
I've never seen that one before.
Oh, this one?
No, Gideon.
Oh, yeah, Gideon. There's another really big Soul Sister that, again, I don't think we'll play. But shout out to Jeff. He loves this card. And he plays it in his Soldiers deck. I can't remember the commander's name. 6 mana. Darian, thank you. Healer of the Pride is a 2/3. So it's got a little bit of a butt for this deck, which is nice. But it's a 4 mana, and it says when another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life instead.
Right. Again,
Probably not the right cost for what we're looking for with this budgetless concern deck, but definitely a really great card if you want to play this, pull the expensive cards out, play a little simpler mana base, that kind of stuff. I think I'm out of... oh, nope. Got a couple more here. So another actual Jeff card here. Only other person I've ever seen play this card. This is Sangromancer. It is a 4 mana, 3/3 flyer. So it's already a really good rate in my opinion. It says whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you may gain 3, and whenever an opponent discards a card, you may gain 3. So I don't know how you feel about that. It's not guaranteed, and it is a 3/3 flyer, but it's definitely something to consider if you were going to build this deck. It's also 40 cents, so it's definitely a more budget option, which is very cool. Let's see, moving on here. Oh, last one, I think it's the last one. Twin Blade Paladin. You know this card?
That's a double strike one?
It's the double strike if you have 25 or more life. Yes, old card. Oh, you know what we're missing? It's 1 mana, and it's a 6/6 flyer.
Yeah.
We'll put that one in too. It's Twin Blade Paladin, 4 mana, 3/3. When you gain life, put a counter on it. As long as you have 25 or more life, it has double strike. I don't know if you want to play this. It's kind of slow. And
I wish I had evasion.
Yeah, I mean, double strike is very powerful, but it's not evasion specifically. They can like just throw a 1/1 in front of it and jump it. But again, another great budget option if you were looking to cut some of the value out of this deck to make it easier to play. Or you want to slow, if your format's a little slower, these like 4-minute creatures are really good because, they're a little bit slower, but they're very powerful as the game progresses.
Right.
Especially if you're not very wrath heavy. How about that one?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start hitting the
payoffs.
The payoffs here. So some of the more I'd say powerful things we'll be doing with this life gain. So Archangel Thune, you can see it's $27. There's a reason for that. It is a 5 mana, so 3 white, 3/4 flying lifelink.
Bigger butt,
which is great. Says whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control.
Yes,
that's
what we're talking about.
Powerful. Doesn't this combo with? It's got a combo with something. When you gain life, put a counter on it.
Yeah, the spike.
They go infinite because it costs 0 to remove a counter and gain a life. Right? Yeah. Should you put that in here? You think we should? It's probably not very good. You know what I'll do? Spike Weaver, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So I'll put the spike in the considering board because if you want a combo and you own an Archangel Thune, for another $5 you have an infinite combo. That's not game winning, but pretty damn close to it. Spike Weaver is a 4 mana Weaver. Comes in with 3 counters. That's not
the one. Spike Feeder.
Feeder, yeah, that's it. Sorry. Oh man.
That's the fog one.
Yeah, that's another Jeff special right there.
That's how we lose to Mazarick.
Actually, I lose to Mazarick because I always seem to have the one flyer that Jeff can go infinite on every time he draws it with the Dinkin
Aerial Oofs.
Yeah, Aerial Oofs. So Spike Feeder, you can just remove a 1/1 counter on it to gain 2 life. So with this and Archangel Thune, what happens is you remove a counter to gain 2 life. Archangel says, put a counter on everything you control. Now you have that counter back, and you just remove it again and go infinite. Your team gets infinitely big. You gain infinite life. Infinite life, while not a game win in Commander.
Might need to just stay in the deck.
It's pretty good, right? 3 mana is also
just stay in the deck.
3 mana is also totally reasonable, and there's lots of ways of putting counters. This isn't the only way with Archangel. We're going to be talking about a lot of really good stuff.
Go ahead and move that Spectrum Sentinel right to the considering board instead.
It does feel a little underwhelming. It does have Pro Multi, which I do like, because you can sometimes get into like a free, basically 2/2 attack because of or 1/2 attack with Ikra Shidiqi. But this one doesn't feel as good.
That one and
the Spike Weaver does feel pretty darn good.
And I think the Luminarch Veteran probably also. The one right above it, the 1 mana one. That one.
Alrighty.
I think we're gonna. Otherwise, we're already at 77. We're gonna just blast past this 100 count.
That's why I said we're probably gonna have a few cuts tonight. But
I think I mentioned it, so we should probably just put it in there. The best Planeswalker in Lifegain, Ajani Strength of the Pride.
But I thought you didn't like Ajani's Pride Mates, and that's what this thing makes.
Sure, that's what it does. It's got this little text at the bottom that says, for 0, wrath everyone else's stuff.
I mean, that sounds pretty powerful to me.
If you have at least 15 life more than your starting life total, exile Ajani's Strength of the Pride and each artifact and creature your opponents control. That is devastating.
What's even more devastating is we'll likely be able to protect it with all these dinky things on the ground. So you might even be able to get a couple of Pride Mates out of it before you do that.
Yeah. Or
just use it.
Or just hit the button.
Hit the button. Now, what happened here? What did I hit? I hit the button. That's what I did.
Yeah.
While this Ajani is clearly the superior one, there is another Ajani in Selesnya colors that I actually think is pretty good for this deck. Fight with you.
We got a bot in the chat.
Oh, a bot? Yeah, I don't want that. Just get rid of that.
No. How do we block him? Alright, we'll let you keep going.
Can't remember the name of it all of a sudden. Darn it. Just go search Ajani and see what pops up. Can we do that? Here we go. Probably gonna be a lot of cards. Hang with us, folks. I'm feeling like a silly person tonight.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Not this one. That one, the Gear-Hearted. So creatures you control have vigilance, and the +1 is just gain 3 life. And then a -2 is put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, put a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker you control. Again, not one that I think we need. And if you want to play it, if you don't have the money for the Banana's expensive, a Johnny that we just put in here that's like $20 or something like that.
It is.
This one's like free in welcome packs. So I'm pretty sure this is...
So go to your store and say, I'd like to be welcomed.
Honestly, if you come see me, I think I have like 30 of these things at my house because I just keep pulling them out of our free box at the shop because nobody ever wants them. But it's definitely totally reasonable as a Planeswalker in this deck. Also, Vigilance is a surprisingly strong keyword in Commander.
Always has been.
But I like working on the considering board too.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting to other payoffs, some cheaper ones. It'll come up. So this is Dina Soul Steeper. Do you know this card?
Yeah.
You probably know this card being a CDH player and all.
Hey, shout out to Alan running this in as his commander in his ad nauseum Lifegain deck.
Seems pretty damn good.
Just dig to the other half of the combo.
Yeah.
Move to combat, attack with Dina, win the game.
Oh yeah, that seems really good. So I don't know if we're going to use this for combo purposes. We might. But Dina says whenever you gain life, each opponent loses one. So it's like a life gain Blood Artist.
Yeah.
And this is every instance of life gain, not how much life you gain. It's very hard distinction sometimes to understand. But if a creature enters, you gain a life from this, this, and this. That's 3 different life your opponent are going to lose, which is very, very cool.
Yep.
So I thought Dina was a really neat ad.
I want horses.
I want horses too.
I want horses. I'm a Crested Sunmare believer.
So Crested Sunmare is a boom, but why don't you talk about it?
It's a 5-mana 5/5 that says other horses you control have indestructible because it is itself a horse. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, make a 5/5 horse. That's each end step, not your end step. Each end step. So if you have a Soul Sister and an effect that creates a token every turn, you get a 5/5 horse on top of it as a little bonus. That's a lot of power to be putting on the board.
Realistically, when your opponents can't even cast their creature because they're worried you're going to gain a life off your Soul Sister and make a free 5/5 horse, like it's basically a tax piece, or you just make 20 power every turn cycle.
Yeah.
Seems really good to me.
Yeah,
and it's true that it says
Sunmare.
other horses have indestructible, so they could kill this. But usually you'll be able to play it on your turn, at least generate 1 free horse before it dies, which is still incredible.
Yeah. And then
if they don't answer, the game's just over.
Another one of our threats that just gets out of control is Sunscorch Regent.
Sunscorch. That's Sunscorch. I really like this card. It's a 5, I want to say, mana dragon.
5 mana, 4/3 dragon.
4/3. It's whenever flying because the dragon. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you put a 1 counter on Sunscorch Regent and gain a life.
Yeah.
And so that's just, it triggers, it gets bigger, you gain life, it's a flyer, it's awesome. And the artwork's actually pretty darn cool on this one.
Yeah, you get that and the Horse Maker, and you gain a life on every turn for every... People can't cast spells without giving you a giant dragon and a 5/5. Yeah, Heliod.
I think Heliod is probably the right card for this deck.
Yeah.
So Heliod Sun Crown is a 3 mana. I mean, if you don't know it, well, I'll still explain it, but this is a very popular card in our format. It is a 3 mana indestructible 5/5 legendary enchantment creature god. That's devotion. If your devotion is less than 5, excuse me, it's not a creature, so it's just a legendary enchantment. But every other zone, it's always a creature, no matter what. But that's not what matters. It says whenever you gain life, you put a 1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control, and then for 2 mana, 1 and a white, you can give another creature lifelink until the turn.
So once again, it plays into our strategy. We get something big and threatening. We give it lifelink if it doesn't already have it, which is an effect we want, and you can just make something huge.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. There's a combo with this. I don't think we're going to play it.
Yeah,
This
I don't
doesn't
think
really fit our
Walking Ballista
strategy.
belongs in this deck necessarily. It'd be fine to include.
And just as another really important note that might be confusing for some of the people you're playing with, depending on your play group, is while you can give your creatures lifelink, Ikra Shidiqi is a separate trigger. It's not giving your creatures lifelink.
Right.
So basically, if your creature has lifelink, just say you gave Ikra Shidiqi lifelink, its trigger is going to happen, and you're going to get a lifelink trigger. So you'll actually gain 14.
Yeah.
You'll gain 10. 3 for its lifelink, and then 7 for its butt because of Ikra Shidiqi.
Yeah.
Which 10 life is still nothing to shake a stick at, even in Commander. That's 25% of your starting total. What do you got next?
So speaking of giving everything lifelink too, do you want to just throw in? We were talking about the Whip of Erebos in here.
Yeah, Whip of Erebos is nuts. And Whip gives you some recursion as well. So Whip of Erebos, 2 black, legendary artifact enchantment. You can pay 2 black, and tap it to return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. And it gains haste, and then you exile at the beginning of your next end step. If it leaves the battlefield, and you exile instead of putting it anywhere else, and you can only do this at sorcery speed. But it has a static line of text that says creatures you control have lifelink, so you can use it to activate. Great, but mostly it's in there just for the static ability of lifelink for the team, which is just the chef's kiss, if you will.
Did you have another lifelink for the team effect that you wanted to play?
Let me check here. I got a little listy. Lifelink for the team. Nope. I have...
Oh, yeah, True Conviction.
Yeah, True Conviction is one that I had here.
Which is also just a great finisher.
Also, I want to thank Alan from Mental Misplay for putting on the event that let me abuse this card the hardest I've ever seen it abused. Maybe I'll post a picture of it on the Twitter or something, but I basically had like 500 tokens because of the way my deck was built. But it's a 6 mana. It's pretty heavy costed. 3 white. Creatures you control have double strike and lifelink. And while this is generally more of a casual card, in this deck we can achieve it pretty easily, and it's very powerful with Ikra Shidiqi. So that's definitely something to consider, that you're going to be getting a lot of damage on folks with that. What are we going on here? You got anything? So I don't know how you feel about this, and I know people are kind of like torn on it sometimes. So Odric Lunarch Marshal lets you basically give your whole team a keyword if somebody on your team has that keyword. And since Tymna has lifelink and Ikra Shidiqi has menace, as long as you have it with Odric at the beginning of combat, you can basically give your entire team lifelink and menace.
That seems reasonable.
You know, and then if you have any other abilities like flying or vigilance, reach, trample, double strike, this thing just lets your team be like almost undefeatable in combat. So I thought because of the keywords the commanders specifically have, it's totally reasonable to play in the deck.
That seems great. I wasn't thinking about that, but I like it.
That's right. I like some more. I wouldn't say it's an obscure card. It's definitely a common one, but it's definitely one of those cards that's a little different.
Would you, because we're doing an aggro kind of plan to win the game here, and we're not necessarily including a bunch of combo victories here, do we want to play an Authority of the Consuls?
I'm totally cool with that. I think it's fine.
So Authority of the Consuls is a 1 white enchantment that creatures your opponents control enter tapped, which gets them out of the way for us to come through and swing it. And then whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain a life.
Oh, Authority got real expensive.
It did.
It's like $11, it said. This is Authority of the Consuls here.
Yeah.
Very cool card. Great artwork, too.
Easy to reprint. That's super easy
to reprint. Like, I don't think you're going to play, like, Bind Obedience and stuff in here.
No.
Although I do love Extort as a mechanic in a Lifegain deck.
I do, too.
But I don't think we'll have the space for Extort mechanic. A couple other just, like, they might be really great in this deck, but could be more budgety options. Wingmate Rock. This is a 5-mana 3/4 flying bird. And when it enters, if you attack with a creature this turn, you make another 3/4 flying bird. And then it says, whenever Wingmate Rock attacks, for each attacking creature, you gain a life. So that seems like it could be a huge swath of life depending on what your attack looks like.
True.
It's also bigger butts. You're going to be attacking for 8 in the air, or you're attacking for 6 in the air, but you'll gain 8 life off of it. Sorry, you'll gain 10 because 2 things are attacking. So, I mean, it's a really neat payoff card. I don't know if it really fits this build.
It does fit the aggro
We're not going
strategy.
specifically very wide, though. But it is a really good card. I think I'm totally cool with leaving this and having to cut it than taking it out right now.
Okay.
You want to pull up the next one there? Which one do you want to do next to?
I would like to draw some cards.
So we're going with this guy here?
I want the Well of Lost Dreams.
Well of Lost Dreams.
I like this one.
Really like this card. Been on this for a long time.
Yeah, I think in a deck where we gain big swaths of life, this effect can be really powerful.
So this is Well of Lost Dreams. 4-mana artifact. When you gain life, you can pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained if you do draw X cards. Seems pretty reasonable, you know?
Right, because if it didn't say less than or equal to, it would be not as good. But because you can gain 10 life and pay 2 mana and draw 2, or 3 mana and draw 3, right? Or you can gain 1 life, pay 1 mana and draw 1. You know, it's...
Yeah, it gives you the versatility to use your life total as a mega resource for your...
Right, and use your mana efficiently as well.
Yes. A couple other good card draw cards. Kazuya's Welcome. Whenever you one or more creatures with mana value 3 or less into the battlefield you control, draw a card. Any tokens you generate will be mana value 3 or less, which is fantastic. Also, like every Soul Sister, pretty much every creature we have is power 3 or less so far. Nearly. Some of them are 4s and 5s, but I don't know what you think about that. Easy to cut, but totally fine if you don't. If you got one. Like I said,
do you want to play the? Do you have Welcoming Vampire? Oh, it's already.
Sorry, yeah, that was the other one. I was coming up to check it out. So, Welcoming Vampire is other creatures power 2 or less into battlefield under control. You can trigger it once a turn. You can draw a card. There's also a 2/3 flyer, so it's got a bigger butt and it flies, which plays near Odric. Works really well with your Ikra Shidiqi. Helps you trigger your Tymna a little easier.
I like it especially because it's also a creature, so it's going to trigger all of our Soul Sister payoffs versus the enchantment. Yeah. I like it more than the enchantment version of it, but I like them both as well.
Yeah, I'm fine if we have to cut to Kazuya's Welcome if we need cuts. Totally reasonable to cut this one. I'd rather cut a non-creature versus a creature.
I think, do you want to play an Alharmut's Archive in this deck?
I do not.
You do not?
Okay. No, I mean, like, we're already going to be gaining so much life and also drawing so many cards. I mean, it is a very good card, but it's also a 5 mana.
It is.
I mean, I'm okay, like, listing it here for sure, and if we have to cut it, we have to cut it, but...
I'm fine throwing it right in the considering board.
Alright. It's gone down a lot, though. This card used to be like $20. But it's...
Can we get a recent reprinting?
Maybe. It looks like it's a list card, maybe.
Yeah.
It just says it's a 5-mana legendary artifact. If you gain life, gain twice that much life. And if you would draw a card, except the first one you draw on your turns, draw 2 cards instead. Very, 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 very powerful card, but I think that we're already going to be kind of doing this with our creatures.
Yep.
And I want to focus on trying to put more creatures in to try to trigger our Soul Sisters more.
Do you want to do one of my other favorite life-linking card drawing creatures?
Yes, I'm going to put...
And he has a bigger butt?
Yes, he does. I like having big butts in this deck. This is Mangara, the Diplomat. Unfortunately, the expensive Mangara now, but Mangara is... why don't you explain? You like this card a lot.
Yeah, so Mangara is 3 and a white for a 2/4 with lifelink. If an opponent attacks you with 2 or more creatures, you draw a card. If an opponent casts their second spell on their turn, draw a card. So it's got the Crom text, which everybody loves. But I think he plays in this. He's got lifelink. His butt's bigger. He's going to draw us cards. It's on a creature. I think that works with our strategy. He's easily casted because he's just a 1 white pip. I think it works.
I think it is a very good card for this deck. I want to wait on these 2.
Okay.
These are what I want to hit everybody with at the end. So as far as other ways of gaining life, excuse me, wasn't sure what you thought about Comball. You know, this card,
I think Comball's great.
It's a pretty darn good card. I'm pretty sure it's got a bigger butt, right? Yeah, it's a 2/3, just incidentally has a bigger butt. You know, that's not really relevant to... I mean, it's relevant to our game plan, but it's not a key to it. It's just helpful with Ikra Shidiqi. But whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 and you gain 2.
Dio in the chat from the Bufftown Bullies. Dio says
What's up,
Veto.
Dio? Yeah, Veto's on our list too. This is a friggin' sweet card, man. We have a few of these mega payoffs that are just nuts. And this is a hell of a suggestion. So Veto, I think, is 5 mana, I want to say. Oh, 3 mana. He's got a 5-mana activation. Legendary Vampire, 1/3. That's the bigger butt. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. So these big swaths that we're gaining and all these incrementals will just basically leech our opponents to death. And it also has a 5-mana ability to give all your creatures lifelink. Another way of just generating lifelink for our team, keeping that life very high. Awesome suggestion.
Thanks, Dio.
Yeah, it was awesome. Let's see here. So Comball. Sometimes you need budget alternatives for the people who don't want to build the expensive deck. And so I have Marauding Blight Priest in this.
Okay.
For 21 cents. Actually, I think in this deck could be very, very good with our current build. But, you know, if we need to cut a card, it's pretty dinky. It's a 3/2, so it's reverse butt. It doesn't work for us. But when you gain life, and that's each instance, each opponent loses 1 life. And yes, what level that... powerful, casual, no budget. But we're not playing like the tutors, and we're not playing like the crazy fast mana, basically, right?
Yeah, so we're off Crypt and Vault, and we're just not, and we're not playing Demonic Tutor. We're not playing Diabolic Tutor. We're just keeping it to that kind of high-powered casual.
High-powered casual, exactly. It's the terms that we're using now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get the new terminology down. Savito. Oh, I have another budget option I just wanted to list here. Like I said, I like the opportunity to like offer suggestions for like I don't know how to say this, but like I really just like when I look at a deck list and they're like, no, you have to play these cards. Like,
Right.
You don't have to. A lot of these cards can just slot in and out. You don't have to play all the expensive stuff and still have a very good, powerful deck. And so Cliffhaven Vampire is just another one of these 4-drops, 2 white, black. It's a 2/4 flyer, I want to say. So it's got that nice big butt that we want with Ikra Shidiqi. It says whenever you gain life, each opponent loses a life. This one actually seems much more playable in our deck than the Blight Priest does because it has an evasion. So I'm definitely going to put this one out. And if we need a cut, the Cliffhaven is fine. But basically, anytime you can leech down your opponents by gaining life is very strong. But yeah, it looks like we have a lot of 4-drops, so we might end up cutting it anyway. But and then I found this new card that I had never seen before from Phyrexia. Gitaxian Puppeteer.
I have not seen this one.
This is a newbie for me. I was looking at some... What? Come on. Gixian. Not Gitaxian. Wizards really got to mess with me, right? They make Gixian and Gitaxian. 47 cents, so I like this card already as a less expensive card.
What do you got?
So it's a 4-mana 4/3. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. When it dies, return another target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's not great, but I was thinking of alternative ways to draw, for have your opponents to lose.
Okay.
Again, I don't think this makes our deck, but it's a really cool alternative. I am nearly out of cards here. Oh.
So are we gonna move to the big boom booms?
Just give me 1 second here to clear out. Oh, do you like Angelic Skirmisher?
It is definitely plays in, and it plays into having what's his name, the Audric in here too.
Yeah, this is good with Audric. Actually, this doesn't work with Audric. Well, I mean it does, but it doesn't.
What do you mean? Isn't it a beginning of combat trigger?
But all your creatures get that. So Audric would give them all that anyway.
No, yeah, you're right. Never
But
mind.
Angelic Skirmisher, I don't think we're gonna play it, but it's a 6-mana flying angel. It's a 4/4. Excuse me. Beginning of each combat. It's a little better than Audric, actually, right?
No, Audric's each.
No, each combat. Yeah. So, Angelic Skirmisher. At the beginning of each combat, you can choose First Strike, Vigilance, or Lifelink. Creatures you control gain that ability turn to turn. Actually, this actually does work really well with Audric. Right? No, it doesn't, because he'll give them to your team anyway. I'm feeling foolish all of a sudden.
Well, there was the prototype one that does something similar if you wanted it to. It would work with Audric.
Do you get the name of that one?
Yeah, Steel Seraph.
Let's go ahead and...
I don't know.
Just waiting for Mox to catch up with us here. Steel Seraph. Like I said, I don't know if that's effect that we really want, but it's definitely really cool to talk about.
Dio's
Accomplished Alchemist, huh? We'll check that one out next.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Come on, Steel Seraph. Let's see. 6-mana, 5/4 flyer. Excuse me. Beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains your choice of flying, vigilance, lifelink to the turn. So this one does work with Audric better because it gives it to one creature, and then Audric will give to all of them.
You can cast it for the prototype for 3-mana flyer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think this card is good enough for this deck.
Okay.
Even a budget. Well, it's probably fine for a budget version. Let's consider it.
Let's check out Dio's recommendation here.
Accomplished Alchemist. Come on, baby. You got this. We believe in you. 30 cents. What a suggestion. I can't wait to see what this does. Hopefully it's awesome. Ooh, green mana. Oh, yeah, we were just talking about this one. Yeah. And it's got a really big butt.
Oh, it does. It's a 2/5.
It's a 2/5 for 4. Elf Druid. It tap to add a mana of any color. So it's a really expensive mana dork, but you can tap it to add X mana of any one color, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. Thank you, my friend. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely... I think that definitely works.
That wasn't even on my list. Let's see here. We're not going to be playing any of that junk. Another... I don't know if you like this card. I'm not a big fan of spells in this deck, like instants and sorceries as much as creatures.
Yeah.
Because you really need your creatures to trigger your Soul Sisters, but this... Oh, where'd it go? Lost it. Oh, there it is. So this is Ready and Willing. The ready side is creatures you control are indestructible. Untap each creature you control. So So that's like a good protection spell.
Yep.
And the other half of it is creature control, gain death touch, and lifelink until end of turn. They're both instants. You can actually pay 6 mana to get all of that if you wanted. Again, I don't know if it fits our build. Obviously, the protection is really nice. Giving the creatures lifelink is really nice.
I would love to have you do this to read a card.
Yeah. Like, also, fun player skill about cards like this. When you're playing a game and you have to go, everybody knows you got split cards. So what I like to do is kind of hold my hand sideways when nobody's looking.
Still.
Again, I don't think this is going in our particular version, but it's definitely a really awesome card. Hey, is that John showing up?
Yeah, Perry, what's up?
What's up, John? Glad to have you with us tonight. All right.
Oh, we want your unicorn in here.
Oh, hell yeah.
I forgot about your unicorn.
I can't ever win with this thing anymore because I always get murdered the second I start playing stuff. Lathiel, sorry. This is a neat card. It's a really powerful card, too.
34 cents powerful.
Another neat legendary, too. There's a lot of legendary creatures in this, I've noticed. But Lathiel is a unicorn, right? Or is it a horse? There it is. Yep, unicorn. 4 mana, 2/2 green white, 2/2 lifelink unicorn. At the beginning of each end step. I always missed that when I played this card.
I know.
If you gained life this turn, distribute up to that many 1/1 counters among creatures you control. Oh my god, this thing made creatures big. And it's a 2/2 lifelink on its own.
Right.
So if you do a hit with this and you have Ikra Shidiqi out, you're gaining 4 life.
Yeah.
And then you get to distribute 4 counters among your things, make this bigger with lifelink. Oh, it's amazing. Also, like, making Tymna bigger is really good because Tymna dies because it's small.
Right.
It's hard to get into combat with it, so...
But if it was like a 7/7?
Yeah, that's much easier to rumble with. So before we get to those boys, John just sent us something, by the way. He texted us. We did all those. The whole. Do you want to play the card that you said you wanted to build this deck for originally?
No.
All right, I'm gonna put it in the considering so people can still consider it though. So this is Stronghold Arena. I think Steve's onto something. I think this card is flipping awesome.
Oh, we're being live streamed into John's apartment.
Hey, John. Thanks for live streaming us. What does it make?
Oh, as a root channeler, I you know what? I had that one clipped. Do you know what that one does?
Not a clue. What card did I just put in? I just forgot.
I don't know.
I said it was not very good.
I was looking at John's thing. I don't know what you put in.
I don't know.
I wasn't paying attention. Let's see what's new.
Oh, it's the enchantment. The enchantment, the whole reason you wanted to build the deck initially.
So originally I had an idea that I was like, I want to build an Abzan deck that attacks with creatures and can gain life to offset the loss by Stronghold Arena. I think this card's cool. I think we have way too much high CMC for this.
Yeah.
Because we're going to kill ourselves with this card. As much as we're gaining life, I don't know that I want to kill myself that hard. But I think there's like another version of this deck that plays like all weenies, but it needs to win another way. Like, it would need to be all weenies and like win with combo finishes only. Ezra Channeler is the one you got to look up here for.
Whoa, Ezra Robot. What happens when you fat finger the keys?
So this is a green creature that discounts all your creature costs for how much life you've gained this turn.
That seems real good.
It is, however, 5 and a green.
It's much less good. But this is really neat. It's a 4/6. It's got that butt. It's got reach. Reach is really important. Creature spells you cast cost X less to cast, X mana life you gain. And it taps to gain life. You know what? Let's throw it in there.
It's cool.
It's so cool.
Would love to see it work.
Yeah. I mean, we can always test it out. And if we, like, the cost is too high, then we can pull it, This is one I'm likely going to sleeve up and really start jamming at our FNMs and stuff like that.
Yeah, you like this idea a lot?
I do like this. I think Lifegain is like a really fun strategy. And, sometimes it's okay to have fun playing Commander.
I think you were talking about like a longingness for bringing Trostani back into your life.
I do. So I think now I'm going to start getting into the...
into the boom booms?
Into the real boom booms here.
So we only got 4 spots left in our current list. So maybe like 6 to 10
you have,
boom booms?
These are the other... Well, I still want to put the 1 mana 6/6 flyer boom boom in. And then these 4. So
okay.
These 3. So that'll bring us up. But...
Yes. Dio has already
he's
predicted the future on one of the payoffs I want to play.
Oh, I did that wrong. I don't want to consider Shieldred. I want to jam this thing right in there. Come on, darling, open up. I gotta fix this. I just didn't like. I don't like this artwork very much. It's not my style. I like when the cards are more uniform anyway. So Shieldred, the Apocalypse. You want to talk about what this card is and does? For anybody who's never heard of this somehow.
You draw cards, you gain life. They draw cards, they lose life.
And it's a 4/5 death touch, so don't even want to block it. It's an awesome blocker, and it's got a bigger butt, so it works with Ikra Shidiqi. This card is everything you want in this deck and more.
So
the only problem, it's like $70 or $80.
I can't believe that.
I can't believe I sold mine for $50, thinking this is as high as it's gonna get in a standard. Oh man.
Not the Phyrexian one. There you go.
Yeah. So this one's listing it at $76 almost.
Jeez.
Because like I said, this is high powered casual, which means, you know, you're talking decks likely up to like thousands sometimes.
Right.
This one's still doing pretty good at only like $600 with almost the whole deck being done.
Right.
So do you want to put in
Dio's suggestion, which is definitely was Beladros Weatherbloom, is the big Golgari dragon from Strixhaven, that on every upkeep you get a pest, which is the ones which will trigger all of your Soul Sorcerer effects.
Did I not spell this right?
And then the other side of it is pay 10 life, untap all your lands. So you can just go crazy with this.
So you got the name on this one? For some reason, I might not be spelling it correctly. Search Winterbloom to see if it pops up.
Weatherbloom.
I don't know the name of this card at all. I know exactly what it is and does. I'm just really bad at spelling it tonight.
Wither, with Wither.
I told you I don't know the name of it. Here we are in the library of Dang, and I don't know how to spell anything.
Beladros.
2 E's, okay. That's a pretty budget friendly card, even at like $10 because of how powerful it is. This card is, you play this and it's basically just gonna take over the game. I'm not a big fan of this artwork, even though it's really cool looking. The frame I don't really like. But go ahead and describe what it does.
It's a 7-mana Golgari flying dragon. Every upkeep, you get a pest. And then you can just pay 10 life, untop all your lands. And you can only do that once, but it's once each turn.
So you can do it on yours, theirs, and theirs.
Yeah, so if you got a mana dump, you can go crazy with this card.
That Spike Feeder looks like a mana dump.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have the Archangel out, you can just pile a bunch of counter, like a... what does it do? I forgot what it does.
How about being able to give your creatures lifelink with veto on every turn?
Yeah, that'd be really, really good. You attacking? No, you're not. No one is. So we'll put it here. I actually built this as a commander deck and only played it once before I was like, oh, no, it's too powerful.
Yeah.
Too powerful for our group. And we played some powerful stuff. So these two?
Yeah. And then just, I like Nykthos Paragon.
I think this card is awesome. I think it's really underrated.
I think especially in a deck where we are going to attempt to gain a chunk of life in a big way. I mean, this is just...
Yeah. Don't like the sketch frame, but it's a 6 mana, 4 white, enchantment human soldier.
Bigger butt.
Yep, big butt, 4/6. Says when you gain life, you may put that many 1/1 counters on each creature you control, and you do it once per turn. And that's not on just your turn, so even if you only gain 1 life on your opponent's turns, you'll still be putting 3 more counters on everybody. But if you do it on your turn, you really want it to be like a big swath of life. So you put a ton of counters on all your creatures.
And it's a May, so you can skip over some small trigger that you have for a big one.
Yes, you can. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Right. So you can be like, oh, I don't want that one entering Soul Sister effect, but I will take that big trigger off Ikra Shidiqi for 12.
Yeah. Or like in combat when you gain all that life.
Yeah.
Whatever your biggest one is, just say that's the one I want to trigger it for.
Dio's got Vault of the Archangel.
Yep, I actually had it in the list, Dio. It's in the mana base. We introduced it at the beginning of the video. I'll go ahead and run it though again.
Yeah, it's down here.
It is a colorless tap land, or a colorless land that taps. Jeez, sorry everybody. It's a land that taps for colorless, or you can pay 2 black, white, and tap it. Creatures you control gain Death Touch and Lifelink on a turn. This card is amazing on defense and amazing on offense. It's totally worth its colorless spot in the deck.
Yeah.
Full stop. Amazing.
And then sometimes we just want to win the game.
Sometimes you just need to win, and you play the card that says win the game. We're going to have to make some cuts, though, because there's more cards we need to put in here.
Belara Sovereign, for sure.
Yeah.
I like it better than the enchantment version. The enchantment version doesn't have lifelink and vigilance.
Yeah, and it's
The
not a
enchantment
4/6 with a big butt.
and doesn't trigger all of our effects that gain us life either.
So 100%, this thing, if anything, if you just need anything, this thing sucks up removal spells like a friggin' black hole, okay?
Yeah.
And no one will let this thing stay out, specifically because already when you start the game, you have 40 more life. So the second this thing hits the table, everybody goes on alert, and the entire world breaks up, and they want to kill you.
Yes.
So
But sometimes it doesn't matter, and they can't.
and they're just like, I have no removal, you win. Okay, good. Game's over. We're at 100 now, but I think Sarah Ascendant belongs in this deck.
Absolutely.
Sorry, after Sarah Ascendant's put in here, we'll talk about it in a second, but just want to touch on Feldar Sovereign again. Just minor things about it that are really cool. It has Vigilance and Lifelink, which also works really well with Odric. To be able to give your team Vigilance and Lifelink is actually really good. We talked about how Vigilance is very powerful. So head over here to Sarah Ascendant. This is another one of the old templating busted as hell cards. I'll switch it to a non secret layer though. How about this Iconic Masters version?
Sure.
So it's a 1-mana 1/1 with lifelink. That's all it is. Unless you have 30 or more life, in which case it gets 5/5 and flying. So basically, it's a 6/6 flying lifelink for 1.
All right.
Which also, again, works really well with Odric.
Now to me comes the big debate. Does this deck Dude, this dick is fucking... I'm just kidding. Does this deck get Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond? Or one, or the other, or neither? Do they go in the deck?
I don't know. We're not like... I mean, we already have one janky combo of like Spike Feeder with Archangel Athune. That one that you're talking about, like, it's a lot of feel bads for people, and it does win a game instantly. Basically. But it is like 10 mana, right?
Well, but we have the other halves, right? We have Veto.
We do have Veto.
We have Dina.
Dina, yep.
And there's this argument that I often play when it comes to cards like this, right? We're not playing unconditional tutors. We're not playing even conditional tutors.
It's a good point.
So we're going to have to draw to these things naturally, right? We're not playing creature tutors. We're not playing even enchantment tutors. So there's that aspect of it. And then there's the other aspect of it. If you're going to have a piece like Dina or Veto in the deck, people are going to assume you have the other half and treat it as such.
Good point. I also think just having a kill button is totally fine. You know, Lifegain decks tend to go long. You know, the rounds tend to be a lot longer. Exquisite Blood, whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much. Anytime you gain life with Veto...
it's totally unnecessary.
Yeah, Dina...
I 100% agree, Dio. It's totally unnecessary. It's not needed in the deck at all.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? Late to the party? Is that another card?
No. He was because he...
Oh, because he showed up late. Yeah. Green-white counterlands. The other Innistrad. I love those Innistrad lands, Dio. There's some of my favorite things ever printed. How do you feel about that, the one that you pay for and tap it, and you put a 1/1 counter on all your creatures? Gavin Township, yeah. I don't think we need it as much because we have so many things.
We're playing +1/+1 counter synergies more, maybe, but...
Yeah, it does up our land count to 36 and mean we have to make 3 cuts, but I think it's totally fine to play it if you want to. If not, I think, even if we don't play it, I think it's totally fine to put in the considering board for anybody that needs a cheap land that's really, really good. And I find Gavin Township works a lot better when you're playing the small ball version, Dio, when you have like a lot of dinky small creatures that you want to really bolster. We have a lot of big boom hitters in here, but like... Just like, okay, I got this leftover mana sitting around on my end step. Might as well throw a 1/1 counter on everything. Totally seems reasonable to play.
So, Exquisite Blood is the one that combos with Veto, right?
Yep. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. And then you also have a Cliffhaven Vampire that I had in here. Does the same thing, right? Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses a life. The Marauding Blight Priest that I put in the considering board does the same thing. Because when they lose the life, you gain the life, and then they lose the life, and then you gain the life. Right? Isn't that how it works? Am I wrong here? Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1.
But the other one is the one that does it with Dino. Sanguine Bond.
Isn't the creatures that we just played, though? Like, these creatures are Sanguine Bonds, effectively, right? And they're not enchantments, they're creatures.
Okay.
I mean, we'll throw Sanguine Bond in here, and if we cut it, we cut it, but... I'm pretty sure the Sanguine Bond does what like a lot of these creatures are already doing, right? Which is when you're gaining life, they're losing life. The Exquisite Blood is the hard one, because it's one of the only cards with that effect, I think.
I thought
they do work together. When you gain life, target opponent loses that much life, and then when this one says, when the opponent loses life, you gain that much life.
Yeah, they work together. And
they do work together.
But I don't think.
But the creatures, I mean,
like Exquisite Blood and Dina don't work.
Dina is when you gain life, each opponent loses one, and then Exquisite Blood says when they lose one, you gain one, and then yeah, it works with Dina.
No, it's the other one. It's the other half of it that works with her.
When you gain one, each opponent loses one. And then Sanguine Bond says... No, Sanguine Bond's... When you gain, they lose. It's the same... So you gain, they lose is the same as Dina. Because Dina says you gain, they lose. Cliffhaven says you gain, they lose.
No, it's Exquisite Blood that works with Dina, yeah.
Yeah, so Exquisite Blood this is the combo card. This is the old version of it.
That you don't need anymore.
But we don't need this because so many of our creatures already do that.
Get rid of that then.
Again, if you have it and you want to play it and it's a budget's consideration, throw it in there. Go ahead. Okay. But yeah, the Exquisite Blood is the card like that. And shout out to my buddy Troy. Me and him because this was a bulk rare in Avacyn, we had 50 of these things and we just threw them out because they sucked. Nobody even wanted to buy them even for bulk rate because they were garbage.
Ouch.
And now this card at one time I think hit $40 or $50 too before the reprints.
So they reprinted it in Jumpstart, right?
Now we're gonna make some cuts here, and I know we talked that Takazi's Welcome is just not as good. But we don't have too many ways of drawing cards outside of Tymna here, who draws all the cards in the world. So I don't know what you think about that. Maybe we'll cut that one out. It's also not a creature. I really like to keep the creatures as maxed out on those as best we can.
The other card draw that I play is the Cosmos Elixir.
All right,
that one's not as good.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time here. We can definitely talk about it as a considering card. Yeah, Dio, I change up the way I do it now. I start with a static amount of lands I want to play, 35 or 36, and I up the land count based on MDFCs by every 2 MDFCs I play is a single land up. But those lands, because you use them for mana a lot of the time, most of the time use them for mana, I don't really count them as a spell slot. But it's just a difference of really strategy. So if that works really well for you and your decks, then awesome. It's just for me that I always find that I need them early and they always screw up my opening hands, so they have to count as lands in that aspect. Same reason I don't really like Maze of Ith all that much in Commander, because it doesn't tap for mana and it costs a land slot if you're counting it as in your lands. I wouldn't obviously count that one as a land, but you get where I'm coming from, I suppose.
Cosmos Elixir is an artifact that either gains you life or draws you cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I don't think it's as good as the other things we're doing. The Well-Lost Dream seems like it's a better format artifact for this particular deck.
Absolutely. It's the second best one.
That said, we're going to make a couple more cuts here to close out the deck, unless somebody's got any more suggestions they want us to take a look at beforehand. But one of the things I can say is, if this is a strategy you really enjoy and you don't want to spend $650 on a deck, you can build this for very, very low cost.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a lot of cool analogs. There's a lot of cards I don't even think we need to talk about for considering. Just go Scryfall and just type in gain life and search these colors or what colors you want to play in. There's just thousands of cards that are totally playable and totally great to play in a deck, like a Johnny's
Pridemate.
No, the Pridemate's fine, but there's a monument. To every upkeep you gain a life.
Yeah, there's an enchantment.
You can play, there's a 2-mana artifact. It's when you take damage, put that many counters on it. And every upkeep you remove a counter and gain a life. That's every upkeep. So every cycle you gain 4. Sun Droplet, yeah. Great. There's lots of great cards for life gain stuff, but we're going to go ahead and make some final cuts here. Take a look at the mana base, make sure we're balanced well. And
do you want any MDFCs? Do you want the green buy it back from the graveyard one?
I mean, they're all reasonable if you want me to jam them in here. What is that one? That's the
Belagad Recovery.
Yeah, man, what a good card.
I think I'm just always gonna play that one.
Balaged. I remember it now. Balaged. That's the Zendikar type stuff. There it is. So this is just a 3-mana sorcery regrowth, but it's a tapped land on the backside. Outside of that, the white ones might be reasonable to play. The 2 white ones.
Do you want the
I prefer the protection
color
one.
ones? Sajiri Shelter.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 that I'd be most willing to play. I don't know. There's lots and lots of good ones. The white one makes all the mythic ones don't seem all that necessary for this.
Dio's saying, is there an X spell that makes lifelink dudes?
Yes, there is. It's got Convoke. It's a Selesnya spell.
March of the Multitudes.
Yeah, March of the Multitudes. Colin was really high on this card before, when it was first being previewed, and I think it's a great card. I don't know if we're going wide enough to be able to make this good, but it's a fantastic.
We did
card.
not put a Chrome as well in this deck yet.
We did not. I wasn't sure if you wanted to.
Do we need it?
That's the thing. Like, it's nice to be able to protect your team, but I don't think it's necessary. Just like there's so many cards in 3 colors that are great in these decks here.
There's the White Sun's Twilight is the new one from Phyrexia. That's an X spell that gains you life. You know what I think might be decent in here that we could probably change a removal spell for?
What's that?
Is the Heliod's Intervention.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
We might just like take out Generous Gift or something for that.
No.
Or Mythos, even though you wanted to play the
I want to play Mythos, but it's a little more limiting than Generous Gift and Beast Within. So another deck that's not going to get Mythos in it because it's just a better analog for it. But what was the card I just added in?
I don't know.
Put in March of the Multitudes.
Oh, the White Sun's Twilight.
Oh, White
You
Sun's
put that one in.
It's a sorcery, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Here it is. So X for X white sorcery, gain X life, create X 1/1 colorless Phyrexian might artifact creature. Oh my god, how many things I got put in these cards nowadays? Excuse me. With Toxic 1 and this creature can't block. If X is 5 or more, destroy other creatures. I
don't like the Wrath.
I really don't like this card in this deck. Just because like you want to gain a big chunk on an X spell when you have all that mana. And this kind of stifles you from you'll blow up your whole board and that sucks.
So put that one in the considering,
Yeah.
and put in Heliod's Intervention.
Yeah, I'll put in Heliod's Intervention. It's a really darn good card in this deck. What's the original? The original White Sun is make tokens. So Heliod's Intervention, I want to say, is X white, and you gain X life or destroy X target enchantments and/or artifacts.
Yes.
And it's instant.
Twice
right?
X life.
Twice X life. Ah, I was so close. So destroyed X target artifacts and/or enchantments. Target player gains twice X life.
So hear me out. Nykthos Paragon.
Yeah, this
is X is 20.
Yeah, sure.
Beldros Witherbloom.
GG.
Pay 10 life. Float your mana. Pay 10 life with Beldros. Cast this for X is 20.
It's pretty
Nykthos Paragon. Your whole team gets +30/+30.
Sounds pretty busted to me.
I do. Ink Shield is also very funny.
Ink Shield? I'll get to it in just a second here. Everything's going a little slow.
I also, because we're in Orzhov, I'm a big Batwing Broom fan.
Oh my goodness. We're getting a little
But I don't know if we're
a
gonna
little
go that
silly
far.
here. Is 2 words Ink Shield?
Nope.
I don't actually have never heard of this card.
Hey, what's up, Colin?
Hey, what's up, Colin? Sorry, buddy. Yeah, I know. If you want to test this deck, this one's probably going to be a little more costly, man. But it's good to have you here. I was actually going to give you a call today, but I haven't slept in 4 days, so I'm pretty beat. Ink Shield.
Is it instant?
Oh, it's an instant. Excuse me. There
Prevent
it
all
is.
combat damage will be dealt to you.
For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1. Oh, it makes Inkling. It makes a lot of Inklings.
It's the Inkling Fog.
It's Inkling Fog. I mean, it's cool.
It's 5 mana.
It's 5 mana is a lot.
In a deck, we're not holding up mana necessarily.
No, not
unless
without,
we have
not without the dragon. Yeah.
The dragon.
This is the brew porch in the bottom of the barrel. Yeah, Dio.
It's fun. I love this card.
I mean, here's the thing, though. It's not the bottom of the barrel. This is just... It's not something that Steve and I would play, but if you're totally into this card, jam it, man.
Oh, I think this card's hysterical.
It's an awesome card.
I'm dying to blow someone out with this one day. I still have not done it.
There's a spider one too, yeah.
Yes, the spider one is playable in
that
colors as well.
Arachnogenesis or
Yes.
something like that? Yeah. They're totally cool cards.
I like silly fogs like that.
I do too. I actually like, and I'm gonna put on record right now. I think fogs are totally playable in Casual Commander. Good old fashioned 1 mana fogs like Holy Day. Fog,
or the free-sided, or the free one-sided if you have your commander.
There's a black one too, right? Like darkness.
Which I was joking. We were at the portal on Friday night playing a game with George, and I was like, George was playing Orzhov. He was playing Orzhov Clerics with Tymna and Ravos.
Oh, wow. That sounds awesome.
All Orzhov, all Cleric tribal. And I was like, George, you have to put Darkness in this deck. It's 2 on theme.
Yes, this is where high power casual is. Blowout City. Yeah. Yeah, totally gonna blow people out. I'm checking out John's suggestion now of Rodolph Dustbringer. I never even heard of this card.
No, I have not.
There are so many cards now that I actually checked this one out earlier. It's a sweet card, John. 6 mana, 4/4 flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. I love all the keywords on it. Really good with our Odric plan. Whenever you gain life, he gains indestructible until end of turn. Since the beginning of your end step, you can pay 1 and a hybrid Orzhov. When you do, return target creature card may have X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. It's actually a really sweet card. Totally playable in this deck.
And then what we got? Moment's Peace.
That is I want to say it's a flashback fog. Not that I'm playing any fogs in this bad boy, but
Dio knows the one. Dio, what's the one that Scoop plays? In white. Scoop plays one in white.
Is Moment's Peace the flashback fog? I want to say it's the flashback fog. There's a flashback fog that is really powerful, and that's the flashback fog. There's also one where you just like sack a land to buy it back.
Yes.
And it's more expensive too.
Dio, what's the white one that Scoop gets everybody with?
Also, to be fair, these are commanders that are pretty sticky for the most part. People don't really kill Ikra Shidiqi. I don't really see people kill this card often, even though it gains an inordinate amount of life, and it's kind of big, so it's hard to kill. But like the free fogs, that you can if you control your commander. Grim Feast, John is saying. Oh, that's a card you played, isn't it? It's like when a creature dies, you gain life equal to its something or other. I want to say I knew you played this card once.
Wasn't Comeuppance.
No, it's an enchantment.
What the heck was it?
Like Skullbriar, maybe?
Which card are you talking about?
This one.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's at the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 1 damage. She has 3 mana enchantment in Golgari. Whenever a creature is put into a target opponent's graveyard, I think it's each opponent's or any opponent's graveyard now, but you gain a life amount equal to that creature's toughness.
No, this was in Bounty Hunter.
Bounty Hunter, yeah, that's right.
This was in
Dog.
Shovel. Yes, Dog the Bounty Hunter, a.k.a.
Feed the Clans, John, is a real big life gain spell. Unfortunately, I don't like it, John, because it doesn't work with our commander or any of our really dinky creatures. We only have a few big boy creatures, so we're already kind of in a winning position for that card. But I'll show everybody what it is, because I think it's a great card.
There's some white instant speed fog.
Colin's like, there's a Crested Sunmare? You have my attention. So a little quick backstory on this. We got a little bit of time here. Colin was the first person to ever introduce Crested Sunmare to me. It was in an Esper deck. I want to say, I can't remember the commander's name. It was the one that gains life. Yeah, Aloro. It was basically Esper clones and wraths. And basically, a Crested Sunmare was his secret commander. And what he did was he would play Crested Sunmare and clone it, and then just start wrathing the board every single turn.
Air Horse 1.
And he would basically just find ways to gain life so that it would continue to Aloro always gains you life. Yeah, Air Horse 1 is what he called it. Aloro gaining you the life guaranteed that you would have the horse every cycle, even if it was in your command zone, right? So I think Aloro gains your life in your command zone. This deck was hilarious, and the games took forever for Colin to get there, but man, it was funny when he did. I'm going to pull this to Kazuya's Welcome. I don't think it's very good in this.
Okay.
I think it's fine, but we have better things to do. And Tymna's going to draw us just oodles of cards once we start rolling. Oh, did you want to put a Toski in here? And the Snake? We had talked about those. Snake is a boom, but
that was more in a go wide attacking strategy. I think the Snake's the better one because he's got a big butt.
Yes. What's the mana curve look like on this bad boy anyway? Not too bad. I mean, a lot of 4s, a lot of 5s, some 6s. 20... 9, 11, 8. Those are fine. Really white, though. Look at that. Holy cannoli is a very white deck. Twilight Prophet. Yeah, John, there's just so many cards. There's so many cards that you can play in this deck. Which card did I just say?
I'm trying to figure out what this card was that I watched Scoop get everybody with.
Dawn Charm. Tio. Actually, that card's really good in Commander.
Dawn Charm is good, yes.
I'll throw it in the considering for sure.
It was some sort of either Convoke or Flashback.
What did it
had
do?
another. It was like a fog, and I was watching him. He got somebody on stream with it, and he was like, "Oh, this is my jam." And I'm trying to think of what.
It wasn't the buyback one, was it? That I was talking about with you sack a land.
I feel like it was you could you could cast it from the graveyard. You either had some sort of flashback.
Was it white
or something?
Any event, Dawn Charm here. 2 mana, choose 1 instant. Prevent all damage, regenerated creature, or counter target spell that targets you. This card is sneakily becoming one of my more favorite mono white cards.
I think it was Prismatic Strands.
Oh, where you tap creatures to flash it back?
Prevent all damage that sources of the color of your choice would deal to you, and then flashback, tap 2 untapped white creatures.
Luxodon Life Chanter, Colin? Yeah, I remember the Strands.
Prismatic Strands, yes. I watched him
I think it was like a pauper card for a while,
blow people out real hard with that card.
Life Chanter, excuse me.
Yep. I got it. Took me a while there, Dio. I found it.
I don't know this one, Colin. Or at least the name doesn't sound familiar to me. Check it out. Should pop in here somewhere. There it is. Another 6 mana card, man. That's the only problem with this is like we already got a lot of heavy costed things, but when it enters the battlefield, you may have your life total become the total toughness of creatures you control. Luxodon Life Changer gets XX until X is your life total. Wow, that's pretty darn good, especially with Ikra Shidiqi. Strands is in his $50 deck. Yeah, it's a really inexpensive card. It's really powerful.
Yeah, I think it was he had the $50 deck challenge that they did. It was a really sweet, really sweet thing they did at their shop. And his was what was his $50? Was it Poly Tyrant with Kaikar or something like that?
Also, John has suggested Twilight Prophet. I think this card is totally serviceable in this deck. It's a great cost for its effect. You just need to have City's Blessing to get the benefit from it. It does have a bigger butt, which is nice with your commander, and it does gain life. So it kind of does all of the things, plays all the roles. It says begin your upkeep. If you have the City's Blessing, you reveal a top card of your library and put it in your hand. Each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where the X is the card's converted mana cost. It's actually good with some of the boom booms that we had, so I think, John, this is a great suggestion.
Yeah.
You have to sort by casting cost. I might cut Conviction here. Yeah, I think that it might be, but I mean, we'll check it out now. So I think we're at the cutting stage.
Good to go to cuts.
Like I said to everybody who was thinking about this, like, oh, why didn't you put this? Why didn't you put that? Like, there are just a ridiculous amount of cards in 3 different colors that care about life, and all 3 of these colors really do play really well with your life. Black using it for resource, green and white gaining it for you, or letting you convert it.
We didn't put a Bolus Citadel in this deck.
Like, that would be hilarious. Yes, I just think Calling Time. Yeah. So let's go ahead and we got this sorted now. I want to look at the non-creatures first. Okay. Because the creatures are very important to our Soul Sister package.
Sure.
I'm sure there's some creatures we can cut, but let's go ahead and head down here. We'll start at the enchantments. This one is easily on the chopping block because, I mean, it doesn't do anything when we play it.
Yep.
Outside of we already have to have a board established. So I'm okay shifting this one out.
Sure.
As good a card as also triple white, even with this good mana base, can still be challenging. Also, and this is something a lot of people don't think about when you're making cuts, but this card is terrible in an opening hand. It almost always forces a mulligan.
Yep.
Because of its cost, because it doesn't do enough, and it doesn't let you build to something like right away. It's something you want to kind of draw later in the game. So, good in my Griffin's deck, not so good in the Lifegain deck, I don't think. Even though, you get the Ikra trigger twice.
Yeah.
Which is really powerful. I think these other 3 are fine. Life Gift might be kind of... I mean, Life Gift is good. This is a good card. Authority is also a good card. I think all the ramp stays. Well is good. Equip is good, yeah. We're over on lands, too, now, because we have 37 with MDFC, so we can make a land cut. I have...
Why don't we do our other cuts first? Let's do our color balances.
Sure. I can tell you that it's mostly white. Just looking at this, even if we make a few cuts, look at this white versus green black.
So it's just we're even on green and black at the moment?
Yeah, everything's even basically for right now. So what I was going to do is just pull the swamps and forest, because I have 2 of each basic in here for the starting deck. So I'll leave the 2 plains, I'll pull a swamp, pull a forest.
Okay.
I already pulled a forest, so I'll remove 1. It's good to have lands that we can fetch for. 2 mana, 2/2. 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 2 mana, 2/2.
Yeah, Dio was saying you could just do Chroma's Will would be better than the Double Strike that True Conviction would be. Just a one-time.
Yeah, totally true.
You know,
I think a Chroma's Will is a nasty Magic card.
It is.
I can't believe how expensive it is. Remember this card was like 50 cents because people were just laying down on it?
Yeah.
Which
you
is
want
crazy.
To cut to the land? Did you do it yet?
I got us down to 36 with the MDFCs, so I think that's right. When you add 2 MDFCs, you want to up your land count by 1 because they do enter tap. Even though like most of our lands are not going to enter tapped or don't have to. Just as another thing about just playability on a deck like this, you want to try to keep a hand with a fetch land in it so you can go get that tri-land in the first turn. Turns on all your buddy lands, turns on your tainted lands as well. It's very helpful. If you can't, or if you have it in your opening hand, or if you have like a dual land that plays with your buddies really well, you'll be fine. Any dual land plays with the buddies, but you really want to get that swamp to make these tainteds turn on, because the tainteds are really powerful cards when you have the swamp. Alrighty, where are we at? So 106, that's not bad. Yeah, Chroma's Will is. I think Chroma's Will is playable. How do you feel with the March of Multitudes? Like, if we were going really wide,
yeah,
like to have the ability to just like, oh, we're gonna tap our whole team and double how many creatures we have.
Yeah,
seems great. But I mean, each one of these does trigger the Soul Sisters, so we'll leave it for now. I think that's pretty powerful. Yeah, it looks like we're probably gonna have to cut a few creatures. There's some jankier ones in here though, like maybe the Artist and maybe the Zulport Cutthroat goes.
I think I'd rather pull like the Channeler. I know I want to make it work, but if we had like...
Yeah, I think the Life Chanter, like, it requires us to just jump through a bunch of hoops and have it in a winning position already.
It's super cool.
It is a sweet card, and I do appreciate you suggesting it, Colin, but, like, by the time I get to 6 mana and have enough life that this is good, or enough creatures that this is good, like, we're already in a winning position. It seems like more of a win more card. To be fair, though, when I played Tristani, if this card was out, it would have slam played it in the deck.
Yeah.
Because you Tristani decks just get so big. Move to considering. Yeah. Eventually move. I mean, Rodolph seems like it's really good for this deck.
You want to move the Channeler?
No, but I'm gonna because we gotta make a cut, and it's just like when I think of all the 6 mana things, like, is this Ezra Channeler better than Felidar Sovereign? Definitely not. Definitely not as good as Nykthos Paragon in this particular deck.
Yeah.
It's and then the other one is like it's either between the Channeler or the Duskbringer. Which one do you like better? Is really the question.
I like the Duskbringer better than the Channeler for sure.
All right.
No. I like to save.
Yeah.
I like to cut the Channeler more.
To cut the Channeler. I mean,
I think there's a version like you said where like I think if this deck were 2-color.
Yes. It'd be a lot easier to.
If it were not, if you didn't have the black, and you were like leaning into even bigger stuff, the Channeler would be pretty cool.
Yes. I think the Zulaport is easily cuttable though, because your creatures have to die for you to gain that life. So otherwise, it's just like a dead card most of the time.
Yeah, sure.
Blood Artist though is totally reasonable because when your opponent's creatures die,
yeah, that's fine.
It makes combat more challenging for your opponents.
Right. We do have Daxos still for our stuff dying. We have the Ilkor for our stuff dying too, right?
Yep.
Or no, that's their stuff dying.
I mean, this one is just a Soul Sister that, like when
no, okay. Well, yours.
When your creatures die, you gain life. Do we even need
What's
this?
the Cliff Haven guy do?
Do we even need this?
It is a Soul Sister because look at our Cleric and Angel count.
Oh, I see. Okay. I honestly only looked at the bottom half of it.
Yeah. So look at like Essence Warden, Sarah's Ascendant. I think our
Tymna also triggers it, which is sweet.
Well, let's
go through the list.
Elf Shaman, Human Monk. No, yes, Cleric. No. Cleric.
There's quite a few clerics in here.
Cleric.
This is like Cleric Tribal, man. That's definitely not a cleric.
Advisor. That's an angel.
What about Vito? Is he Vampire Cleric?
Cleric.
Yeah, there's quite a few clerics in here. What was the other creature type? Angel?
Cleric.
Because there's a bunch of angels in here too. There's a few angels in here, not a bunch, but.
Cleric. Angel.
Vampire Angel.
Angel.
So Yeah, I think it's totally worth. Yeah, you're right. It's really good in here. I can see like to lower the mana cost. This Ringling Rock isn't necessary. It's just good. I don't know what you think about that. I do like paying 5 mana to make 2, 3, 4 flyers with bigger butts, and then when creatures attack, you gain life.
Good for Ikra.
Yeah, it's such a good card in this deck. You were asking about the uncommon creature, the Cliffhaven Vampire. This is just a combo piece with
Sure.
with the Exquisite Blood. So I think if this card feels not powerful enough, then it's totally reasonable to cut this. But we probably want to cut the Exquisite Blood too.
Well,
we're just running out.
We
of
have
abilities to
Vito and Dina at 2 mana and 3 mana. This is the 4 mana version.
Yes, because it's uncommon, but it is a flyer too, and it's got a bigger butt. So there's some merit for it. I think it's easy to pull out though. I have no problem moving this to considering. I'm not like attached to it or anything. I just think it's worth considering in the deck because it is a good card. Down to 102, so we only gotta make 2 more cuts.
The Dio
White Plume Adventurer. I'll bring it up for the people watching, but I don't think we need to put this one in. Also, currently got banned in Legacy, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. So now everybody's moving over to the green one at 4 CNC.
White Plume is right here. Where we go? 3 mana. White Plume, where are you? There you are. It's 2 and a white. Or Cleric. Enters the battlefield, you take the initiative, which basically in this deck means that you're gonna
Fetch a basic.
fetch a basic, and at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, untap a creature you control. If you completed a dungeon, untap all creatures. This is not anything that we need to play, but it is a very good player.
It's the protection from creatures one that's on the dungeon too. That's really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other one's probably better. Seasoned Dungeoneer. In that, like, it has like pro creatures. I think it like explorers or something. It might even gain life, or it might get bigger. But I don't think that's what we're really doing. Yeah, the only problem with fetching a basic is right now our list only has 3 basics in it or 4 basics in it. So like technically you'd be able to get one if you haven't drawn all 3 or fetched them up yet. But I don't know if that's really what we want. Plus, I don't want to like inspire people to attack me to try to take that with my Lifegain deck.
True.
Same reason I don't think Monarch is very good for a Lifegain deck, unless you're like gaining just thousands of life in a turn. Like
What are you doing here?
I didn't do anything; it just popped open.
Trying to buy. No, you clicked on the banner, I think.
Oh, maybe I clicked on. Maybe it's just a load problem. But let's see, what are we cutting here, bud?
2 more.
Like this is really good, right? This is like really good.
So it can be a lot.
But
of
it is
mana.
4 mana, but it gains a lot. Yeah. I think we want to stick with the lower CMC stuff for the most part. You know, maybe this is just like not enough value for 3 mana. You know, if we're not playing a Johnny's Pride Mate, this is basically flying a Pride Mate because it costs 1 more mana.
Yeah.
But the flying is
Makes it
like
totally different.
Yeah, it's true. Like, because Ikra Shidiqi is going to say, like, you hit with this, you're going to gain 3, and then you got 3 life. Yeah, it's. But we got to cut somewhere. So let's. Do we need this like Archivist? Yeah, it's pretty good.
Too many good cards.
There's just so many good cards. You just how do you play them all?
I think it's March.
Yeah, March is like you're already in a winning position when you make enough tokens to make it really good. And then we just gotta cut 1 more.
We probably
40 maybe. Because this doesn't trigger off our creatures.
I know. It just makes it so we can attack a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean,
get our Ikra Shidiqi triggers. That's the only thing we liked about it.
Yeah, but we also have a lot of evasion here. Like, we're not going to be attacking with these. Like the Soul Ward and Soul's Attendant. Like, many of the Soul Sisters don't attack.
Until they're huge.
Yes. And the Auriok Champion has Pro Black and Red, so we'll be able to get it on somebody with that usually. Not attacking with Blood Artist. So, like, Saracen, going to fly. Daxos doesn't really attack. Dina doesn't really attack.
Karlov just gets bigger. He doesn't have a trigger to make gain life, right?
No, he does not.
Just gets big.
He gets big, and he's a removal spell on a stick.
Right.
Which is, I mean, we're going to gain a lot of life and have a lot of instances where this thing is going to be, like, spectacular. Then you just drop this Odric and end the game.
Dio, have a good night, man. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, what's up? Gene's in the house.
What's up, Gene? I know Gene.
Chainsaw Man hat, Gene.
Oh, Gene, yeah. It was a fun game. I remember that. All right. Unfortunately, catch us at the end of the stream here. We're just trying to figure out our final cut to make on this really sweet Tymna Ikra Shidiqi high-powered casual Lifegain deck. So some pretty cool stuff here. A lot of Soul Sisters and big boom booms that care about life game. Maybe combo. Doesn't have evasion. Relies on your opponents to do stuff to have a trigger.
Non-creature spell is like everything.
I know. If I could play Rurik Thar in here, I would. If I could play Rurik Thar in any deck, I would. This card is amazing. The Tristani is a little bit...
We don't have an Aetherflux Reservoir in here either.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's right. Although we're not casting a lot of spells to trigger it, so we'll just have all the life to shotgun people to death. I think you have to pick your poison, though. Like, do you want to play the Exquisite Blood, or do you want to play the Aetherflux Reservoir?
Fair enough.
You know, especially if we're not doing tutors and stuff. Like, this is just a dig to a one of in the variants. Absorbed in painting. Hey, man, it's good to be painting. It's awesome stuff. So, we could just go to land 2 and go down 35 for all I care. We have a lot of ramp. But, yeah, I can just drop a planes if you want. I think 36 is right, though, because our curve is a little bit higher in this deck.
Yeah, I think I like 36.
Let's see here. Let's look at the total. 1.97. It's not bad being about 2. We could probably rock a 35er, but I'd like to stay at the 36 just because the MDFCs. We can do this. We can cut a card. We're smart.
It's probably just Authority of the consoles.
Yeah, I think you gotta like pick one. Either Authority or Combo are probably the two that
I see. I'd either cut the Authority or the Green Enchantment at 3.
The Life Gift.
Yeah.
Thing is like
that's so good.
it's just so powerful. Like it's fine. Don't play your land, so I get a life gain trigger. I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, Colin, I want to see you play this one. So clue me in, and I want to get on the stream and watch you do this one because I think this deck is rad. I do really like Authority, but I think this is probably one of the weaker cards for the deck right now. Like,
it's not a creature,
especially if you're playing against a deck that just like doesn't have any creatures or just like spell slinging. It is really good though.
All right, does it do it?
Once it moves it, I'll say it's done it. Also, Colin, I don't know if you caught it, but this is the name of the deck up here. Are good against haystacks. Yeah, you're right. But also, don't forget that our creatures are going to gain us a gajillion life, so it's not likely we have to worry too much about that. Outside of commander damage or infect, we're in a pretty strong place of, you know, we have 40-something creatures we're not going to be attacking with, all of them every time. Also, this is probably going to be on a lot with this deck. And who's attacking into a 3/7 right here? This is a big son of a bitch. I don't know. You got anything else for us?
I think we did it. I think that's it.
I think we've done it, everybody.
There are so many cards that are cool in this deck that we probably missed.
Yeah, this is definitely...
You can just go forever and ever with this archetype. 3 colors of life gain and getting all of these, right? You can just go crazy. Yeah. But I think this is a pretty sweet place to start from.
Yeah. I guess we'll take a look at a couple opening hands, call it a night.
Sure. Let's see some.
Here we go. Keep. 100%. 2 ramp spells, 4 lands, and a combo piece? I'm in this. What else we got? Fetid Heath is also one of the better lands you can have because it has the double white filter on it.
Sure.
You have a lot of 2 white things. 100% keeping this hand, even though it doesn't have any ramp in it. Cast the Auriok Champion on 2.
Tymna on 3.
Tymna on 3, and then you got Shieldred on 4.
And you got Pro Black and Red, so you probably can get through with Auriok and trigger Tymna.
Yep. Yeah, I think you'd be okay.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
No.
No.
Yes, I actually like this hand. Even though Signet's not helpful for the Daxos and Voice of the Blessed, you already have your 2 white sources for those 2, and the Rock's Faithmender is... it's going to gain a lot of life.
Yeah.
A lot of life. Especially when you cast Tymna on 3 and you already have a creature to attack with on turn 2. That's a nice little play pattern. Yeah. Cast a creature on a 1 and or 2, and then cast Tymna on 3. Attack with the creature to the person who doesn't have anybody. Draw a free card, basically. Like whatever you pay a life for it. The Tymna's life pay doesn't really matter. You want to draw all the cards you possibly can. This is a hard hand, but I like it. It's okay. It's a lower end keep for me.
Yeah.
You know, this fetches a tri-land. Then you're gonna play like a Talisman of Resilience.
But you're guaranteed to get to 3 mana.
Yeah.
And you're guaranteed you're gonna get Daxos who kind of swing. So once again, the Tymna kind of smooths things out for us nicely.
Yeah. This would actually be your first draw here.
Oh, I didn't realize you put it in.
Oh, yeah, I threw it in there. I figured, hey, why not, right?
Sure, yeah, okay.
You know, like, you got extra mana laying around. You got a bunch of 1/1s. You might as well make them bigger.
Belladros.
Yeah, and again, if you get that little synergy of your untapping your lands, then this is totally reasonable to have in there. Again, if you find that this card is hurting your opening hands too much, or if you're just not using this ability, rip this thing out and play in a basic or something, or add another dual land. Let's see here. This is not a good hand.
No.
I know it looks like it's sneaky good, but I don't like relying. I don't like relying on my Talisman of Hierarchy and my Tainted Wood that does not tap for 2 colors.
Oh, yeah. This is slow.
This is one of those hands that looks like it's really good
Until you really
until you
dig
start
in.
playing it. I mean, we might just draw like a white source and then the game's fine.
Or not.
Yeah, we would be in a lot of trouble keeping that hand, I bet. But one of the things that's really interesting about this is hands like this are why I think a lot of people lose Commander games, because they look really good. Like, oh, these, yep, we got 2 lands, ramp spells, we're good. Tainted Wood doesn't tap for black. This does enter untap, which is Talisman is your only white source, so if it gets blown up, you're screwed. Your path doesn't really do anything right now, and you don't want to path your own creature to go get your own land. And then Archivist can be good. Odric obviously good, but like these things are expensive, and they get better as the game progresses,
Right.
as opposed to right now.
Sure.
So I'll do maybe 2 more hands here.
Cavity's hurting us.
I mean, a little bit, yeah. I mean, basically because of the Golgari Signet, the Gavany makes it up for a little bit. But the rest of the hand isn't all that exciting. Like, an X spell in your opener is okay because it's it's an intervention to blow up something, but like, this is way better in late game.
Yeah.
This is better in late game too because it costs 6.
Sure.
It's going to sit in there and rot. So I'd probably throw this one back. I like the Triome. It's great. The Plains. I got a ramp spell. Prosperous Innkeeper. We got a... this is kind of a slow ski. Kind of a slow one. You do have a Soul Sister. I keep forgetting. We got Tymna. Tymna in the Command Zone. Yeah. This one's great. We get some lands on the draw here.
Boom.
Oh, this is game over, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Alrighty, everybody. I think that's good for me tonight. I'm pretty beat from my long weekend at my Air D&D 2023. Coming at you from the Library of Dang. This is me and Steve saying thanks for joining us tonight on Alter the Brew. Enjoy this Tymna and Ikra Shidiqi Lifegain deck.
We'll get this list posted up for everybody. Have a good night, everyone. Yeah. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
We'll see
you next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday, 8:30. Gonna gain every life point there ever has been.